Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on sentence types. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of sentence types. All right. So our chapter is sentence types. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of sentence types. So we're going to say, is the sentence declarative? Is it imperative, interrogative, or exclamatory? That is going to be our lesson for today. So, is the sentence declarative, imperative, interrogative, or exclamatory? And if we look at the different types of sentences, right? These are sentences that we use literally whenever we write sentences, when we write letters, when we write something, right? And we're going to start with a declarative sentence. And a declarative sentence, it is a statement. So a declarative sentence is a statement, and it always ends with a period. So it's a statement that you are making, right? And it ends with a period. So with a declarative sentence, it's like me just randomly telling you, um, I went to bed around 3 this morning. I have 3 other siblings. That is me just randomly telling you those things. That is a statement that I'm just making. Another example here is the nurse told Mr. Abrams to roll up his sleeves so that she could check his blood pressure. So, which means that a declarative sentence, it is basically just a statement and it always ends with a period. Just a dot period. That is a declarative sentence. And then we have an interrogative sentence. And if you look at the word interrogative, think of when they are interrogating you. If somebody interrogates you or interrogates somebody else, what do you think they're doing? It's like they're saying, yo, that person is being interrogated. Meaning it's like saying they are asking that person in and out questions. They're asking that person multiple questions. So an interrogative question, it always ends with a question mark. Always ends with a question mark. So that is basically a question that is being asked. And an example of an interrogative sentence, it is, do you have any plans for the upcoming weekend? How old are you? Are you going to the Chris Brown concert in December? Because he's coming to South Africa. You see, so that is basically questions that is being asked. An interrogative sentence. It always ends in a question mark because a question ends with a question marks. And then we have an imperative sentence. An imperative sentence. And an imperative sentence, it is a command. So imperative sentence, it is a command. And it basically just makes a request or tells someone to do something. And an imperative sentence, it usually ends with a period. And somebody requesting something or telling you to do something is not a bad thing. Because it's like the teacher telling you, you need to read chapter by tomorrow. That is basically an imperative sentence. Me telling you, right, that you need to do that. Because we may be going to write a test, for example. Pick up your clothes, close the door. It's somebody that's telling you to do things. Do the dishes, for example. All right. So that is an interrogative sentence. It's nothing forceful, but if the command shows strong feelings, and then it ends with an exclamation point. And if you look at a subtle request, right, an imperative sentence, Then an example is where they say, for this assignment, use references support to support your claim. That is where somebody's telling you to do something. Your teacher's telling you to do something, not commanding you, just telling you that you need to, use references to support your claim. Or if the command shows strong feelings, it ends with an exclamation point. That means don't drive so quickly in the zone, right? That could maybe be like maybe somebody stressing or shouting or so on. And then lastly, we have an exclamatory sentence. And an exclamatory sentence is like a statement, like a statement. And when it comes to an exclamatory sentence, right, it shows surprise or it shows strong feelings. And an exclamatory sentence, it always ends with an exclamation point. Always ends with an exclamation point. And an example of an exclamatory sentence, an example says, I can't wait to travel through Europe this summer, but with excitement. Because you're excited, you're happy, and that is basically what an exclamatory shows. It's like you're showing excitement, or you can show like where you are shouting or screaming or stop it, right? But in this case, I can't wait to travel through Europe this summer. All excited. So these are our four sentence types. We have a declarative sentence, which is basically just makes a statement, can basically say anything. You don't even have to respond. And that always ends with a period. And then we have an interrogative sentence, which is a question. And it always ends with a question mark. It asks a question. It always ends with a question mark. Any question that is being asked, it ends with a question mark. Even if you ask somebody a question, sometimes your tone, even if you don't even put the question mark there, your tone will show that, this is a question. And then we have an imperative sentence, which is a command. It's a request that is being made, which ends with a period. But if the command shows strong feeling, then it ends with an exclamation point. And then lastly, we have an exclamatory sentence. And an exclamatory sentence is like a statement, and it shows surprise or it shows strong feeling, right? And it always ends with an exclamation point. All right. So now we're going to A plus students.ca, where we're going to learn more about sentence types, and then we're going to our test. And we're going to say, is the sentence declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory? All right. And we went over what declarative sentence is, which is a statement and it ends with a period. We went over what an interrogative sentence is. It is basically a question that is being asked and it always ends with a question mark. We went over what a imperative sentence is, which is a command and it makes a request or tells someone to do something and it ends with a period. But if your command shows strong feelings, then it ends with an exclamation point. And then we have an exclamatory sentence, which is like a statement, but it shows strong feelings, it shows surprise, and that always ends with an exclamation point. All right. So now we're going to say, what kind of sentence is this? So, what kind of sentence is this? From the four types of sentences that we have, which is declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory, you need to say, what kind of sentence is this? It says, I had no idea you played the piano so beautifully. And it ends with an exclamation point. So I had no idea you played the piano so beautifully. What kind of sentence is that? Is that a declarative sentence, an interrogative sentence, an imperative sentence, or an exclamatory sentence? All right. And if we look at that sentence, right? I had no idea you played the piano so beautifully. And it ends with an exclamation point. And if we were to say what kind of sentence that is, then we would say that this sentence, it is an exclamatory sentence, right? So this is an exclamatory sentence because they're surprised, they're excited that, oh, you played so beautifully. You're in awe of how beautiful the person plays the piano. All right, we're going to the next one. Yeah, so here it says exclamatory sentence. All right, the next one says, the audience's thunderous applause left me completely speechless. What type of sentence is that? Is that a declarative sentence, an interrogative sentence? Is that an imperative sentence or an exclamatory sentence? And if we were to look at that specific sentence, it says, the audience's thunderous applause left me completely speechless. And we can say that is an exclamatory sentence. So we can say that's an exclamatory sentence. All right. And if we look at the last one, it says, what type of training and experience do you need to become a referee? What type of training and experience do you need to become a referee? Is that a declarative sentence, interrogative sentence, imperative sentence, or an exclamatory sentence? All right. And if we were to select what kind of sentence it is, especially since it ends with a question mark, then yes, we can say it is an interrogative sentence. Well done. Interrogative sentence is correct. Well done. Before we go to the test, let's just do two more, three more. What kind of sentence is this? It says, I feel like a completely new person now that my fever has broken. I feel like a completely new person now that my fever has broken. Is that a declarative sentence, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory sentence? So that ends with an exclamation point. Declarative sentence, interrogative sentence, imperative, or exclamatory sentence. And if we were to say what kind of sentence that is, then yes, we would say it is an exclamatory sentence. It is an exclamatory sentence. Well done. All right, going on to the next one. It says, in 1996, Death Valley had 40 days with temperatures above 120 degrees. So we need to say what kind of sentence that is. Is that a declarative sentence, imperative sentence, interrogative, or exclamatory sentence? And if we were to say what kind of sentence that is, we can say that is also an exclamatory sentence. So we can also say this is an exclamatory sentence. All right, let's do the last one. It says, how many articles did Anthony write before his publisher offered him a book contract? So, how many articles did Anthony write before his publisher offered him a book contract? We need to say what type of sentence that is: declarative, interrogative, imperative, or an exclamatory. And it ends with a question mark, then yes, we can say it is an interrogative sentence because it is a question that is being asked. So, an interrogative sentence. So, well done. That is correct. Now we're going to our test, right? Where we're going to say, is this a declarative sentence? Is this an interrogative sentence, an imperative sentence, or an exclamatory sentence? All right, it says, what kind of sentence is this? Whose responsibility is it to wake the mayor when there is an emergency? So, whose responsibility is it to wake the mayor when there is an emergency? Is it option one, that is an exclamatory sentence, or question option two, it is an interrogative sentence? All right. So we said who's responsible? That's interrogative sentence. Yes. Option two, interrogative sentence. Well done. It says caribou eat plants and grass in the summer and mushrooms and lichen in the winter. So caribou it eats plants and grass in the summer and mushrooms and lichen in the winter. What kind of sentence is that? Is that a declarative sentence or interrogative sentence? All right. It says, what kind of sentence is this? We said caribou eats plants, grass in the summer, and mushrooms and lichen in the winter. We need to say, is that a declarative sentence, option one, or an interrogative sentence? And yes, if we were to choose the correct one, we would say it is declarative sentence. It says, which do you think is the most important environmental issue of our time? Water conservation or the protection of our natural habitats? We need to say if that is an imperative sentence or if that is an interrogative sentence. Which type of sentence is that? And if we were to look at the type of sentence, we would say, yes, it is an interrogative sentence. It's a question that is being asked. And that is why I'm saying when you want to look at what an interrogative sentence is, just think of going to the police station and they're interrogating you. All right. So we need to look at that sentence, right? It says, give Jared a tour of the building and then take him to Mr. Sawyer's office. We need to say if that is an interrogative sentence or an imperative sentence. It says, give Jared a tour of the building and take him to Mr. Sawyer's office. Is that an interrogative sentence or is it an imperative sentence? All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, it says give Jared a tour. It's like I'm telling you to do that, right? And then we say it is option two, which is imperative. It is a command. Because remember, a command is not necessarily like I command you or dare you. It's where you're just telling someone to do something. That is a command. All right. And what kind of sentence is this? The audience's thunderous applause left me completely speechless. All right, so we can say the audience's thunderous applause left me completely speechless. Is this an exclamatory sentence or is it a declarative sentence? Exclamatory or declarative? Does it show strong feelings and surprise or is it a statement that is being made? And if we were to choose the correct option, then yes, it is an exclamatory point or mark. Well done. All right, it says, I couldn't believe how talented those trapeze artists were. I couldn't believe how talented those trapeze artists were. Is this an interrogative sentence or an exclamatory sentence? All right, and if we were to look at the sentence and say, what kind of sentence is this? Where we say, I couldn't believe how talented those tribute artists were. And then, yes, we can say it is an exclamatory sentence. All right, it's an exclamatory sentence. All right, so we say these small dark spots in the name of a cyclone that occurred on the planet Neptune. We need to say if that statement that he made is it a declarative sentence or an exclamatory sentence. The small dark spot in the name of a cyclone that occurred on the planet Neptune. Is that a declarative sentence, just a statement that she's making? Or is it an exclamatory sentence? Ends with an exclamation point. All right. And if we were to choose the correct one, then this is basically just a declarative sentence. Because a declarative sentence is basically just a statement that is being made. It's like just me randomly telling you something. All right, let's do the last one. It says, who started the rumor about the cafeteria serving cotton candy and ice cream for lunch? All right. And if we would choose the correct option and it ends with a question mark, and then we can say this is an interrogative sentence because it's a question that is being asked. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on the different sentence types. We said that we have four sentence types. We have a declaration, and declaration is like a statement, and it ends with a period. We have an imperative sentence. An imperative sentence is a command, and it ends with a period. However, if the command shows strong feelings and then it ends with an exclamation point, then we have an interrogative sentence which ends with a exclamatory point. A interrogative, it ends with a question mark because it's a question that is being asked. And then lastly, we have an exclamatory point. An exclamatory point ends with an exclamation point. It shows surprise or it shows strong feelings. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on sentence types. Thank you very much, grade 8, for joining the class. Thank you very much for interacting, giving basically answers. Really appreciate it. But I really now hope that you're going to have a good evening further. So till next time, goodbye.